Hey everybody, welcome back to Trav Paints. Today, we're going to destroy this Nutcracker. Well, we're going to turn him into something different. We're going to turn him into something akin to a Wickerman. A Wickerman, for those who don't know, was an effigy made from plant fiber and wood, constructed so animals and people could be sacrificed by ancient druids to their old gods. Well, this fits in well with where our story's headed. So let's steal some ancient tradition and make one of our own. First things first, let's get them cut up and introduce some joints. Now, standing at attention look is a little too prim and proper for what I've got in mind for our poor Nutcracker here. Ideally, we can get him in a position that looks like movement, maybe menacing in some way. As we dissect our friend here, I'll tell you, he was a dollar store find, but I'll be using some Vallejo paints for about 99% of the build. So unfortunately, I can't say this is a dollar hauler build. We're downright getting fancy for this one. Even the airbrush makes an appearance. Now, that doesn't mean it can't be done with crap paints, but I had to try out the sweet paint set I was gifted for Christmas. Thanks to the fam bam. As morbid as it is to say, we finally got its head off. Now we can move on to the next step. I'm going to take some of this armature wire, feed it through the legs, the feet, into the body. We'll do the same for the arms. Again, we're just trying to make those joints so we can change the pose. No, get out of here. No hot glue for you. Can you imagine getting hot glue in the poor cat's hair? Jeez, what a mess that would be. Don't worry, no cats were harmed in the filming of this video. We're going to use this floral wire to add a little bit of more length and heft to the axe. Take it, spin it up a few times, twist it up real good. Make it look like vines or branches, something of that like. We'll stick it in the bottom of the axe. Drill a nice little hole in the bottom of our axe, then waste half a bottle of super glue trying to get the floral wire attached. Oh, well, that's not enough glue. Yeah, there we go. Use more of it, definitely. Since this is that plastic from the dollar store, kind of like what they make the toys out of and whatnot, it needs a good sanding, otherwise we're never going to get glue or paint or anything to really stick to it. Using a little bit more of this floral wire, we're going to do the same thing. Twist it up, make it look like vines or branches or something. Make ourselves some long, weird fingers. Okay, we put them on a base, give us a little bit of stability. Now we're going to use some of this twine in between our joints here to make it look like fibers. Actually, this might be the part that looks most like a Wickerman. I didn't get any shots of this, but the wood planks that we're going to be using to put all over this guy is just EVA foam. That's what that pink is. I got thin sheets of pink, green, all the different colors of EVA foam. I'm not sure why I decided we should use pink for wood, but all you do is score it up, use a pen or a pencil, and then cut them into wood shapes. Planks, in this case. At this point, the build starts taking shape for me. For a while, it's just putting things together. You're not sure if they're going to work to create what you're envisioning or not. But now, it doesn't just look like a cut up Nutcracker anymore. We're on the right track. So let's keep building. In keeping with the spirit of a Nutcracker, let's make the mouth a prominent feature, but we'll change it a little. Instead of big pearly whites for teeth, we'll use toothpicks, cut up to look like jagged little branches broken off to be used as primitive spears and pikes. And let's make the mouth larger, so our workerman could pick up those sacrificed and swallow them whole. Oh yeah, look at how happy he looks. He loves it. Got some fresh duds, new teeth. Looking good, bud. Now that we've got most of the building done here, it's time to get to painting. Do everything black. Then we'll do a nice dry brush and a gray and a white. And then we'll pull that Vallejo paint set out. I'll be showing it to you here in a minute. We'll use that and kind of a cool process that they put in there to create this better wood effect than just painting it brown and throwing a stain over it or a wash. And there's the airbrush just getting some of those other little pieces. The pink for the foam was actually not that bad of an idea because you can see here a couple little pieces that stand out, and once you paint everything else black, if you missed anywhere, it's very obvious. Okay, yeah, time for some gray dry brushing. I got this makeup brush from some of my wife's old makeup stuff. It works really well. Load it up. Get some off. Always check it on your hand. Make sure that's the color that you want. Oh yeah, look at that. Try to brush against the grains there. help to bring out some of the texture. Keep the low spots dark still. Yeah, see? Told you guys, our little buddy's all kinds of happy. Look at that smiling face. So this is the Vallejo set that I was talking about. We're gonna use the wood section. Yeah, get rid of that leather. We're not doing any leather today. We're making a Wickerman made out of wood. Yeah, good job. Wood on that guy. Yep, that's the plan. Yeah, I guess just keep pointing then. Yep, all right. The first step for this painting process is going to be taking two different colors, Japanese uniform and flat earth, and we're going to alternate them on each plank. Thin them down decent enough that we can still get some of that texture, that highlight from our dry brush. And then we're going to come back through after several coats of doing this, and we'll do some washes with the flat earth over the Japanese uniform and a wood grain over the flat earth. Finishing up with those first coats, we're going to move to the next step here. As you can see, this little kit came with a sweet little pamphlet, directions on how to do it. So we're going to move on to that wash stage. A little bit of flat earth over our Japanese uniform, and then wood grain and smoke over our flat earth. Should help to darken everything down. The thing that we're making here, this Wickerman, think of it coming out of a dark forest, something that maybe was thrown together, built some time ago, has had time to age and decay, get kind of gross. You know what I mean? Now that I've got you guys here in the middle of my video, I want to talk a little bit about what this channel is, maybe what we want to do with it. So first off, thank you for whoever's on here watching this, like and leaving comments. I'm pulling for this channel a lot of inspiration from all the craft channels that are already out there, gaming builds, bill making stuff, any of the big guys like that. But the idea is we're going to continue this story that we started last time. And from that, we can explore some different creations and terrains and have a coherent through line through all of it. So again, I just want to say I appreciate you guys being around, and I hope you like crafting. We're following pretty much the same steps on the head here as we did for the rest of the body. Even though we don't have our textured foam for the head, we're going to be able to just paint in that wood grain. So you can see just using some black and then a little bit of white to highlight over that. Wash over it with a nice dark paint. We're able to somewhat mimic, somewhat successfully too, the wood grain that we have all over the rest of the body. And you can see there in the background, I've also done a little bit of that white highlighting and black recess shading on the upper part of the body there. Give it a little more character, give it something, so when you're looking at it, it says, hey, look here. I'm going to paint this hair green, but I wasn't real sure about it at first. It ends up looking okay. We'll do green and then go back over it with some washes, some brown wash and whatnot. But as of right now, it just reminds me of Beetlejuice, which is not what we're going for. Gonna take our dry brush here, rub on it just a little too long, just make it a little awkward. And then take some of that green paint that it's pretty thin at this point. Just gonna stipple around, see if we can imitate some moss around different pieces on the build there. Using that same green paint, gonna get those fingers that we were calling branches or vines before, all painted up nice and green. Those as well, I'll come back over and hit with a nice brown wash. Get them gross. We're not making something fresh here. We're trying to create something gritty, old, dirty. We're just gonna sketch out a rough non-metallic metal for our axe here. Put a couple whites on there so we can get a highlight for that OSL effect that we're going to try to do coming out of the mouth. It'll just glow off the top of the axe there. Alright, static grass. I don't think there's anything that we put together that I don't put static grass in. So the top of these shoulders here, a little bit of glue, a little bit of static grass, and we're not going to use any kind of applicator today. We're just going to stuff it in there and pull it out with our fingers. It'll work. It's not as good as using an applicator, but I don't think the applicator would work in such a small space right there. Alright, let's grab our buddy's head here again. Where I'm pointing here is the fact that, well, he doesn't have any eyes. So, let's make some for him. I had some leftover EVA foam that we had cut for the planks on the body. I just cut those up into real rough diamond-esque shapes. We'll get those glued on, paint them brown, and then we're going to do a nice fiery red for the eyes. Little yellow irises. Give the idea that there's a fire burning inside of this thing. Something hot. For the OSL effect, we're going to take the airbrush here, a little bit of white, get it watered down so it'll blow through there. And we're just going to hit that black. We're going to spray this white on the inside of the mouth so that afterwards we can take some red, a little bit of yellow, add it in there, and get a glow effect. After we're done cleaning the nozzle off of this little bottle here, we're going to use another dry brush, and we're just going to stipple this red along any of the raised areas that we think that light coming out of the mouth might hit. So the shoulders, definitely the top of the chest there, parts of the teeth, and we're going to also do it to the very tip of the axe. I'd been riding south from Gilray along the ever-lauded Gilded Road for 2 days now, with no passerby in sight. My horse and I had pushed hard, but it was time to slow down. The poor beast couldn't go on much longer. The words of the stranger kept ringing in my ears. The Empire is dead. The Emperor is gone. It's all falling apart. Those words were why I left my post, why I fled south. Abandonment was a crime, a treason punishable by, well, best not to think of that now. My priority was to get home and ensure my family's safety. Our home lay in the heart of the Empire, and if the stranger's words held true, they would need my help. There was another outpost within a day's ride on this road, but I decided it was best to avoid it. I heard of trails through the forest, not as grand as the Gilded Road, but well trodden by those living in the bush. I needed to find one of those trails to avoid suspicion. It had been a day now since I entered the forest trails, and they were not as used as I had been led to believe. Navigating through these dense woods was harder than expected. I sure hope I'm still heading south. As darkness fell, I saw a light up ahead. It looked like campfires. Oh, thank goodness. Perhaps these people could give me some direction. The camp appeared abandoned, overgrown with forest reclaiming its place. I could see the stumps of felled trees, but the place hadn't been used in some time. I heard chanting, rhythmic and guttural, accompanied by screams and the roar of fire, loud as if a pyre was burning wildly. Sneaking up behind a dilapidated building, I observed the scene. A group of druids, dressed in furs and foliage from the forest here, were performing a ritual, something outlawed by the Empire a long time ago. They were sacrificing people. Some of those people wore the same uniform as me, guards from the outpost I was trying to avoid. The druids were offering them to an enormous effigy. Thing was made out of planks, wood, wicker. Its face looked familiar. The face was the Emperor's face. Heathens. Damn them. Fire burned inside the effigy, yet it did not consume it. To my horror, I saw how they were sacrificing these people to it. The effigy moved. It bent down and picked up the next sacrifice. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. There's nothing I can do here. Alright, it's just time to get on out of here. I heard the sound of rustling, footsteps approaching. Realizing I'd been spotted, panic surged through me. My horse was tied off a ways back. I had to get back to it. Crack of a branch, urgent footsteps. I ran, heart pounding in my chest, as the druids and their monstrous effigy pursued me. I vaulted onto my horse's back and spurred it forward. Sound of galloping hoofbeats, chanting fading into the distance. I whispered to the horse, "Come on, girl. Run. Run as fast as you can." The forest blurred around us as we raced through the underbrush. Behind us, the chants grew fainter, but the terror lingered. Whatever that thing was, it was not of this world. I couldn't shake the image of the towering effigy, flames dancing within its wooden frame, the helpless cries of my comrades. After what felt like an eternity, I dared to glance back. The forest was silent once more, save for the rustling leaves and distant calls of nocturnal creatures. We had escaped. For now. Head back south. That's all we can do.